Hello and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, or cultural impact of a different character or group every episode. I'm Blue,
I'm Jordan.
and
And I am Scotty. I'm
yeah,
good at all she's got, Captain.
oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind with all the references. I can already tell. Um, so we've done a fair amount of like lecture style episodes on this. It's normally me gushing to Jordan, who doesn't know shit about whatever character we're talking about. Like we've done it with the Toa. Um, from Bionicle, and we've done it with, a bunch of others. In one instance, one of my other guests, Cinder, gave me a lecture about Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, Shadow the Hedgehog specifically for that episode, because I'm not really big into Sonic. But this time, I have two esteemed friends who are both going to lecture me about the general property of Star Trek. I guess I'm
Yeah.
going to title this episode like Starfleet or something. Um,
Sure.
We could go
I
the
guess, and I guess we're planning
Enterprise.
on doing multiple of these, right? So you want to do like
Yeah.
Starfleet original era or something.
are we doing
We
more
could
than one?
go.
Okay.
I think it'd be cool to do
I thought,
multiple. I don't know.
yeah, because like the next generation warrants probably its own separate
Yeah.
episode.
Very different
I
group
mean, there is
and kind
some,
of a different Starfleet by that point.
yeah, there is some lore for the entire like Star Trek universe that gets established in Next Generation, like First Contact. But I think for the sake of this episode, we should focus on Kirk and a little bit of Pike, the Enterprise 1701 crew, and the
Yeah.
next generation would be 1701D crew.
Yeah. I
Okay,
think
I'll
that would
take
make
your
the
word
most
for it.
sense. We'll just speak gibberish for a bit until Blue lets us do what we want.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, okay, if you're listening to this episode, that means that you've probably at least listened to another episode or two, from this podcast. Although I do have a new subscriber now, which is,
Ooh.
one of my coworkers. If you happen to be listening to this first, uh, not going to be a great impression, sorry, but um,
Not
I'm
not a good sampling of Blue's general expertise on nerd franchises.
I know a
Yeah, I
lot
mean,
about a lot of things, but Star Trek is a blind spot for me. Well, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say completely blind, more
I've
like
been
my
on for like two of your blind spots now.
yeah. Well, because I'm also not very deep into GI Joe, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think this is the first time that I'm getting to help teach Blue something.
I was gonna say I think this is new for Jordan. Yeah,
Yeah,
um,
it was great.
so
Yes.
Excited.
so it's gonna be a little bit
Jordan,
of
I will say when I was on your podcast and you had told me you hadn't seen much Star Trek, and by now you've gotten through most of it. I'm like, I am so proud of you, Jordan.
Yes. Yeah, I remember, that was like 2 years ago, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
I've just seen the Kelvinverse movies, and then, I intentionally, I don't remember if it was because of that episode of the podcast or what, but I just like, at some point in the months following that was like, it would be really good just to, like, I should like Star Trek, so I should really
I
get
mean,
into
without
it.
Star Trek, you don't get Star Wars.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I've got my fingers in a good number of pies out there, but the thing about Star Trek is that it just never really clicked with me, partly because my monkey brain likes the fights and the action more than the politics,
Mm.
which is why episode 2 is the worst or like a lot of the prequel stuff is some of the worst Star Wars stuff because they lean more into the political stuff and less into the war, and they do it
Well, it's
badly.
also they make it boring. Like
Yeah,
Star Trek,
I was gonna say it's very
there's
boring.
I really
yeah,
like
with
the
Star
Star
Trek, there's
Wars
a lot of like
prequels.
intrigue into the politics. Like I just started watching the current season of Strange New Worlds, and there's like a bit where like Pike is trying to explain the purpose of diplomacy and like how Starfleet has used diplomacy to settle agreements and bring peace between two alien worlds. And
Yeah,
so,
but I don't know. Like I just even in the real world, like any sort of like political intrigue kind of like when people are like, okay, well, we can't deliver aid relief to this country because we're currently in a treaty with this other country and we're trying to like CIA them and keep them away. I'm just like, this sucks. I don't just be straightforward. I like things to be straightforward, and political intrigue is by very definition not. And because of that, it's been difficult for me to get into Star Trek. But like it's not that I haven't tried. You know, I've given it a good college try. I used to see some rerun episodes of The Next Generation. Rerun
Oh,
episodes.
that is the best of the Star Trek shows.
You know, I didn't completely hate it. It's just, you know, I watched a few episodes and I was just like, okay, that seems neat, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, bro, I gotta. Also, it doesn't help that I have this thing where I feel the need to watch things in chronological order.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what happened to me, where I was like, because I watched the Kelvin movies with my dad, and because he's always loved Star Trek, and I was like, that was fun. Like, I love the concept of all of this, and I like these characters, and I kind of like the world that's going on here. But I was like, but it's been going for like 60 years. At the time, it was like 50 years. And I'm like, that's just too much. I don't know. I don't have that kind of time. That eventually made that time.
The big problem is just that I think William Shatner is a hack. And
a little bit.
I think, look,
a little bit. He's got some cool stuff to him, but yes.
Most honest opinion, which you're on my podcast, so by definition you do. It's that William Shatner never would have gotten nearly as far in his career if he didn't happen to be on Star Trek, which Star Trek blew up. Star Trek was great for its era. William Shatner's acting, I don't think, was ever good, but he was like the main character, so he got elevated by virtue of being on Star Trek. It wasn't that he elevated Star Trek. That's my take. Sorry if that upsets anyone, but like, listen to him sing Rocket Man and tell me that he has a normal human cadence. He doesn't.
He doesn't. He has a very odd way of speaking.
Yeah, that was one of
and that lends to some of the iconography of Kirk.
I guess I can understand where it's like it's so bizarre that you can't help but like think of it when you think of the series. But like, I still wouldn't argue that makes it good. It just makes it memorable.
No, he's not a good actor.
Particularly in the show. Like, he gets better by the movies. Much better.
He does get better in the movies. But he's still not a great actor.
I want to just put it out there, the things that I know about Star Trek going in, and then I'm going to let you guys take over and tell me. So, obviously, I know some of the captains. You know, I know James Tiberius Kirk. I know Jean-Luc Picard. There's a Janeway.
She's the Voyager captain.
Right. There's a black guy. Sorry, I don't know his name.
Benjamin Sisko.
Wait, his name is Sisko?
Yeah, Benjamin Sisko. His last
name is. Does he sing the thong song?
No, but there is actually a really cool episode of Deep Space Nine where he ends up in a segregated America and sort of has to. Jordan, you've seen this one, where he has to
Yeah, it's a wonderful episode.
Yeah, it's my favorite episode of Deep Space Nine.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely, we should probably mention that right off the bat. Star Trek is hella woke.
Yeah,
Star Trek is aggressively progressive and aggressively left-wing.
It's the show with the first interracial kiss.
It had the first interracial kiss. The whole, like 20% of Picard's speeches are about how capitalism was a stupid system and it's super good that we moved to a socialist utopia.
I am aware that this is one of the things I know about going in is that it's extremely lefty, and I do love that about it. I know, like, Starfleet is basically like the worldwide human spacefaring organization, and it's, even though it's human centric, there are aliens that join it.
Yes.
Yes. I believe
no,
because of First Contact, I think the Vulcans were the first to join
Yes.
Starfleet. Jordan Kirk. Yes. Thank you, Jordan.
I know, some of the other, like, species and characters. I know, like, the Locutus of Borg, the Ferengi, Klingon, Khan! Like, yeah.
Yes, Khan is important, yes.
Yes.
Worf and Data and, Riker and,
all great
Spock
characters.
and, Jahura?
Jahara.
No.
Uhura?
Who?
Uhura.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uhura.
yeah,
Nyota Uhura.
I was working out which name that was approximating.
Okay, I was one letter off.
Yeah.
Scotty, obviously, and
That's why I'm here, Captain.
Oh yeah, and they have transmats.
Transporters?
Beam.
Or
The beam. Beam me up.
beaming. Yes.
Yes.
Transporters.
Oh, okay.
Scotty, transporter room.
Is whatever. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, because I know that transmat, as like a shortcut for the word transmatter, comes from something, and I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not important. It's not Star Trek. They have the dinky little laser pistols.
The phasers.
Yeah, that's it. And
Phaser set the stun.
Yeah, I've heard that a bunch. Which Star Wars blatantly copied once and then never did it again.
Yes.
And is...
They do it a bunch in the Clone Wars. But yes, they underutilize it in the movies.
I know Q.
Oh yeah, Q is awesome. Q's gonna get like a whole 15-minute segment of the TNG episode.
I know Q is a guy, a race, and a dimension.
That's basically right, yeah.
He's kind of like Star Trek's Mr. Mixie Spitlick.
He is, very much so. That's a great comparison.
He reads very fifth dimensional gnome, yeah. But
I mean, the entire second season of Picard is him rewriting history to make Starfleet the Galactic Empire.
Yes.
Damn, that's crazy. And what's is it the Ferengi, the guys with like the flat big butt heads? And
big butt heads is Ferengi. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I know them.
They're the last remaining, I mean not the last remaining, but they're the capitalist parody, caricatures of capitalists.
Right.
Yeah, some people have kind of noted that they're kind of borderline anti-Semitic. They're not quite as bad as the Wattos in Star Trek, Star Wars, but
they're fucking goblins from Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh dear God. Or what are those things in Mass Effect that are like bankers?
I don't know.
The Volus.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Like, it's funny, you're a big fan of Mass Effect, and a huge influence on Mass Effect is Star Trek.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something, because, okay, this is where my hypocrisy shows.
Well, I mean, it's like you were saying earlier that you don't really jive with, like, slower-paced political storytelling.
Yeah, because, like, there are definitely interspecies politics in Mass Effect, which I think are amazing, but I feel like that is backed up by a strong sense of a very direct conflict where, like, the Reapers are, like, even if they get their own motivations and reasonings later, regardless of what those motivations are, they are there to slaughter everybody in the galaxy, and we all have to stop them. And so the interspecies politics in Mass Effect serves as a roadblock that we need to get through so we can unify all these races against the common threat. Whereas in Star Trek, it just seems like it's just a day by day thing. We're constantly having to navigate it, and there's not really an end goal with it,
Mhm.
which is harder to parse. I mean, and it's also easier to get through a story of like 3 games, which is like what, 100 hours,
True. Yeah.
uh,
I
versus
because I
all
played
50
through the
issues.
Mass Effects when you did your Mass Effect episodes, and it
Did
was
you
like,
enjoy them? Did you enjoy them?
oh yeah, I loved them. I did base my Commander Shepard on Captain Kirk,
That makes sense. Yes.
and
Um,
I made him an engineer as a reference to Scotty.
oh, cool. Yeah, engineer is fun.
Cool.
Um, okay, I think we're hitting my bedrock here. I
Okay.
don't think
This
there's much
this
more.
is a useful starting point for
Mhm.
you to have.
Yeah, I
So
know some
Jordan, do you know
basics.
much about the real world history behind Star Trek?
I know a little bit about like some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like
So you at least know who Gene Roddenberry is, I
yes,
take it.
yeah,
Yes, Gene Roddenberry, he's the primary creator of Star Trek.
and a
Gene
shitty dude.
Alcone, kinda, yeah. Gene Alcone, John Meredith Lucas, and Fred Freiberger were like the co-creators who helped like write some of the episodes. But in the 1960s, Gene Roddenberry basically came up with the Star Trek series, and his original vision for it was it would follow Captain Pike, portrayed by Jeffrey Hunter. But CBS, for whatever reason, rejected the show to the point where Jeffrey Hunter's wife basically says, "Yeah, this isn't for you. This sci-fi stuff, it's dumb. Don't get
It's
involved with
dumb.
it." Hmm. But it's funny because Gene Roddenberry and the director Robert Butler had already recorded the first episode, The Cage. And so by the time Star Trek does get off the ground and greenlit by CBS, Roddenberry basically has to find a new lead for his show because Jeffrey Hunter bowed out. And that's how he came up with Captain Kirk, was he basically created the character around William Shatner. He didn't want to just say, well, Jeffrey Hunter's not part of this, so I'm going to make William Shatner Captain Pike. Instead, he comes up with a new captain for the lead actor for Star Trek, so he could still use the footage for The Cage in the episode The Menagerie.
Yeah, which is really cool. Where they basically there's an episode later into season one. I think it's season one of the
It's a
original
two-parter,
series.
too.
Yeah, it's a two-parter where they clip show the pilot, and you get to see uh, Pike in his prime,
Mm-hmm.
doing a space adventure. But in the present, we're finding out that some horrible tragedy has befallen Pike, and he is,
Yes,
in a wheelchair. He can't speak. He's
yes.
disfigured, and
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I
that
It was a
interject real quick?
training accident where the he was like coming to like a training facility that was like under siege or something, and it explodes on him, putting him in that state. And
yeah.
Sean Kenny is a Pike in that bit, whereas like the original footage was Jeffrey Hunter as Pike,
All right, can I
and
ask something
they
real quick?
can't.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so the original pitch main character was a guy named Pike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Um.
basically what the new show Star Trek: Strange New Worlds is about. Is Pike as captain of the Enterprise,
Yeah.
1701.
Okay. I have recently been getting into a D&D Let's Play, or like a TTRPG game called Starship Rhapsody,
Hmm.
or no, Stardust Rhapsody. And
Mm.
um I've actually bought their like stuff that they had on Kickstarter recently, and so I'm supposed to get that like next year. So I've been watching them to try and get a vibe of like the sci-fi world and stuff. And a couple of the characters are very blatantly based off of Cowboy Bebop characters.
Hmm.
There's a guy named Rhett who's based off of Jet, and there's a guy named Pike who's based off of Spike. But I'm now realizing that him being named Pike, might also be a reference to Star Trek, which I was not aware of.
That's
Yes,
cool.
Christopher Pike. Which is funny because it's like we've had 3 Captain Kirks and 3 Captain Pikes when you think
That's
about
true.
it. Because actually 4 if you count Sean Kenny, who was Pike in the ventilator
That's
system.
funny. I hit one of those, you know, the if I had a nickel for every time joke where it's 2 and it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit one of
If I
those
had a nickel for every
recently.
time the Joker knocked Skeletor out of the park, I'd have 2 nickels.
But I hit one of those recently with the trailer for the Batman Nightfall animated movie, where Anson Mount, who currently plays Pike, is going to be voicing Batman.
Batman.
And I did if I had a nickel for every time someone played Pike in a live action Star Trek property and went on to later voice Batman in an animated project, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but
Yeah.
it's weird that it happened twice because
Yes.
Bruce Greenwood was the Pike of the Kelvin universe and then voiced Batman in multiple things. So that's fun.
If I had a nickel for every time a Batman voice actor was in Star Trek Into Darkness, I'd have 2 nickels.
Oh man, who's the other one?
It's a RoboCop actor, Admiral Marcus.
Oh yes. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. But yes, so Pike was and then that becomes part of the lore that Kirk kind of inherited the Enterprise from Pike.
Yes.
That
Because
Pike
Kirk
was the captain before him.
Kirk was first officer of the Farragut, then he gets promoted to captain of the Farragut.
Yeah.
And then when Pike gets promoted to fleet admiral, that's when Kirk becomes captain of the Enterprise. And it was during Pike's tenure as fleet admiral that the training incident happened that put him in a basically ventilator chair.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that Kirk bumbled his way to success.
There's a little bit of failing upwards for Kirk.
Yes. Particularly if you watch Strange New Worlds, which is like a prequel to the original series.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
Oh, yes.
I guess I should say I also do know the intro, most of the intro to Star Trek, the like space, the final frontier,
Yes.
Final Frontier.
Iconic.
These are yes.
Now this okay, you're going to get a little bit of blue lore here. The reason I know it, so if you guys don't know, my grandmother raised me very Christian. And in the, you know, like 80s, 90s, 2000s, okay, fuck, I gotta explain this. Okay, there's a group called the Gaither Vocal Band, which are, traveling Christian band singers, and they have a bunch of VHS tapes that my mom collected a bunch of, and, one of their members is this guy called Mark Lowry. During Christmas, have you ever heard the song "Mary Did You Know"?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Mark Lowry made that song. And that's probably his biggest claim to fame. But
Okay.
he's also like a comedian, or he was. I don't even know if the guy's still alive anymore. All I know is that because I didn't rock with, you know, the constant, like, hearing them sing How Great Thou Art at Red Rock or whatever. Like, I didn't really care about that stuff. So my mom kept me placated by, she bought like 4 of Mark Lowry's comedy tapes. And so one of them literally opens up, because he was a big Star Trek fan, with him doing a parody of the Star Trek opening. And then like some weird, like, his face was painted and put on the front of a ship, and like, you know, being photoshopped across the screen, and him going, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's funny because in the Kelvin movies, I think Michael Giacchino. Oh. So I was about to say, Michael Giacchino for the Kelvin movies does a better version of that Star Trek theme than what was in the original series.
He does. Giacchino's a genius. He has it where he will recontextualize something that you thought was really cool and be like, but this is what it could be.
I feel like there's a meme for that, but I can't place it right now.
Oh, is it Life is Good, but it
But
could
it
be
can be
better.
better.
No, that wasn't what I was thinking of. It's some general idea of like the horse drawing thing where it's like a child's
Oh
rendition of a
yeah,
horse, and then it's like the extremely hyper realistic sketch, like something along those lines, like something low
and then there's one
quality,
that's
and
on
then
fire.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so all right, so I hear that Kirk got his position because his predecessor like got in a huge accident. So
Yeah. That's not how he
Well,
got
no,
the
it wasn't
captainship,
that.
but
It's kind of like the reasoning for why Pike isn't really present in the original series. Pike
okay,
chose Kirk to be the captain of the Enterprise because of like
yeah,
their
before the
experience
accident.
together. Yes,
huh,
because
that is
Pike
kind
got
of
promoted
nice
to
of
fleet
that. Okay.
admiral. Yeah.
So what's the deal with the crew? Did Kirk pick the crew, or did Pike pick them, or
So most of them were already there.
okay,
Yes.
They're,
Spock was Pike's first officer, and Kirk kept him as his first officer. And Scotty was Pike's engineer. Kirk kept him around. Bones, same thing. Uhura. I think, depending on how Star Trek Strange New Worlds plays out, Chekhov and Sulu were Kirk's people.
yes,
oh,
probably.
Sulu. Okay, that's George Takei, right?
That is George Takei.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Another Star Trek actor I've been in the presence of.
That's awesome. Oh my.
I
Oh my.
uh okay. I sometimes forget that Sulu and Spock are two different guys because I don't know what Sulu does.
He's one
Sulu's
of the
the
pilots.
pilot,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
Spock is a
Sulu
science
and Chekhov.
officer. He's like an
Yes.
analyst and the, kind of,
Oh,
by the time we get to Kirk's era, like second in command.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so sorry, I
Well, I mean,
forgot.
he was technically.
I do know some
Oh,
stuff about Spock. I know he's only half Vulcan.
True.
Um,
yes.
I know he like dies in that one movie, and it's a
He
big
does?
deal.
Wrath of Khan.
And I know he goes into heat.
That is also true. Every 7 years.
Yeah,
Ponfar.
Ponfar, is that? Yeah, okay. And if you're wondering why I know that very specific, it's not for the reasons you might expect from me. It's because I watch a game show on Dropout called Actually, and they just covered general nerd lore, and I learned about it from that.
That's
And
funny.
this makes a lot more sense why there's so much shit of like Kirk x Spock, which is like the original like Yaoi Fujoshi thing, which further shows how progressive Star Trek was.
Yes. Well, I mean, George Takei is a gay actor.
Yeah, and Uhura's black.
Yes. And she
Yes.
kissed Kirk.
Very brave of them.
Yeah, and I remember that this is a fun story we should mention about the interracial kiss, is that they wanted them to do one take where they kiss and one take where they don't actually kiss, so that they could broadcast that version in the South because it's the 60s.
Oh my god, I hate that shit.
And
Same thing with Cora.
yeah, and Nichelle Nichols and Shatner intentionally fucked up the take where they didn't kiss every time to force them to use only the kiss take. And I'm like, alright, that's cool. You guys are cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
a good
why.
one.
That's why when I see like William Shatner troll Stephen Miller on Twitter, because Stephen Miller's like, they're ruining Star Trek, and it's like, I
My
can't
God.
believe they never thought of a way to get rid of glasses. This is what you're going to complain about instead of why people still need glasses in Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's always fun.
Alright, so what's like some of the popular stories from the original series?
Alright, yeah, let's think. What are some
So,
good ones to
you want
cover?
to talk about the actual pilot, Jordan, where no man has gone before.
I watched that one, but not closely enough to give a recap of it. You should do that one.
Well, yeah. Well, not only have I watched it, but after the 2009 film, IDW launched an ongoing Star Trek run, which is basically, it's in the Kelvinverse, but it's retelling stories from the original series show in comic book form.
Oh, that's
So the first
awesome.
issue,
I want to read that.
yes, I have the first trade paperback on my bookshelf right next to me.
That's awesome.
But like, Where No Man, the actual episode of the show was directed by James Goldstone, written by Samuel A. Peoples. And what it basically is, the Enterprise, this happens a lot, the Enterprise runs into an improbability field, and it turns Kirk's best friend, Gary Mitchell, into a supervillain. Basically, the energy from the field possesses him. And so now he has telekinesis, telepathy, and he can shoot lightning from his fingers. I wonder what popular franchise gave characters those superpowers. Another one was Star in the title.
So Star Trek, their mechanic for just making episodes where they can do whatever they want is called an improbability field.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or later by using the holodeck if they wanted to just do something insane.
I know about the holodeck. Yeah, that. Well, okay. I think I actually remember an episode of The Next Generation where the holodeck glitched, and
that happens like every other week on TNG.
That happened in the last season of Strange New Worlds, where Scotty's basically testing it out, and it has a glitch that forces the Enterprise crew to be in this parody of Star Trek that's also like a murder mystery.
It sounds
honestly, some of the holodeck episodes are my favorite things. Like it's it's dumb that's your storytelling. Like we want to tell an episode in the Renaissance that doesn't require time travel, so let's just they're in the holodeck and it gets stuck. And so they do that just constantly in TNG. I'm like, it's worth it. That's so fun.
Yes. It's basically
Sorry, go ahead.
It's kind of like the X-Men stage room, but not meant for just training. It's for whatever. Like Scotty used it in The Next Generation to recreate his Enterprise, so he could like reminisce about his time as engineer of the Enterprise, and gets a beer with Picard.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just look personally, like you guys are talking about, like, oh, why do they still wear glasses? My thing is, why do they keep using the holodeck? Because if I was on this spaceship and I was like, well, last week I was in the holodeck and it glitched out and the door wouldn't open and let me out and I was stuck in the poop dimension for 5 hours. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get on the holodeck again today. It's like, no, I would just literally never use that thing again. I'd be like, either you guys fix this technology so that it stops glitching all the time, or I'm not using it. It's not that important. I can read a book.
Well, I mean, Data used it to recreate Sherlock Holmes adventures.
Yeah, when we get to a full TNG episode, I'm gonna have so much fun talking about that episode in particular, and also just the holodeck in general.
I have seen pictures of Data wearing the Sherlock Holmes outfit, so I do know of that. Like, there's a bunch of little things I didn't mention that, like, I know, but I have zero context for any of them.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to those.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the things Lore tries to erase in Picard was his love for Sherlock Holmes. And the very last thing he basically took was Spot, Data's cat, which ends up being the thing that saves Data and gets rid of Lore and the Daystrom android in Picard.
Yeah, there's so much. This lore is insane.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the Mirror Universe, because I was trying to think of what are some really iconic original series episodes. The Mirror Universe might be my I don't know if it's my favorite. It's one of my favorites though. I really liked that episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where
Mirror, a transporter accident results in a few of our key cast members accidentally teleporting to an Enterprise that is in an alternate universe where Starfleet is a fascist regime.
Oh,
Yes.
And everyone
Yes.
has goatees, which makes it easier to tell the characters apart when they're being evil.
Even the women?
Particularly the Mirror Spa.
No, the women just wear skimpy outfits on that universe.
But don't they all? Okay, sure, whatever.
Not real. I mean, like, yeah, like Uhura has like a pretty short skirt.
Skirts are kind of short.
Yeah, like the skirts are short, but they're like all have like bare midriff in the other universe. Yeah. For the 60s, yeah, probably.
But, yes.
Okay, no, sorry. It was just so funny, the idea of, like, all of their evil counterparts having a goatee and then turning to Uhura and she just has a full goatee.
Full goatee.
Okay, so they're in Nazi land. And every franchise does this. Every single franchise.
Everyone, you have to do it. You have to do Nazi World.
Nazis.
Yeah, and we are eventually, actually, in Star Trek Enterprise, I think it's not until Enterprise, that we are told the origin story of this universe, of why it's so different. And it goes back to the First Contact movie that we keep referencing, where the end of that movie is humans' first contact with the Vulcans, which kind of kickstarts humans' exploration into space and actually
Obviously,
being able...
there was a little bit before, like...
Yeah.
First Contact is like in the aftermath of World War III.
Yeah.
Which basically causes the world to basically
which is set for the 2030s, so get ready.
Okay.
Yes.
Dare I ask when World War III happens according to Star Trek?
Right. And but anyway, so that ends with First Contact, where we meet the Vulcans and this big science sharing begins. And
sorry, real quick, what there was some prophetic thing from Star Trek that happened recently.
Let me think.
I just remember like Tumblr blowing up about it, be like, "Oh my God, Star Trek was right."
Man, I'm trying to think of what would have been in the. Let's see. They've got the '90s genetics war and eugenics war, and then there's what happens in the early aughts? I can't remember.
Isn't Khan created like in the early 2000s according to Star Trek lore?
Well, so it's okay. This is something I need to say about Star Trek before I continue on what I was going to say, which is that they keep shifting the timeline, and it's canonical. It's like intentionally, like so many people are time traveling all the time in Star Trek that like little things get shifted around, but the arc always remains the same. But in the original series, we are told Khan's lore, which is that during the eugenics war of the 1990s, Khan was a dictator who controlled a fair amount of the world, and when he was toppled, he went into space with a bunch of his enhanced followers. They're all like low-level superhumans.
Basically to be space conquerors.
Yeah. And their ship got lost and drifted with all of them in cryo-freeze for like 150 years until they were found by Kirk in the original series. But
yes, that's the episode Spacesuit.
Yeah, iconic episode. Ricardo Montalban as Khan. Very cool, very fun. We'll talk about that.
Made him the villain of the second movie.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment.
I didn't know any of that shit. I knew Khan was like a bad guy, but I couldn't tell you why or.
Yeah, he's definitely the villain with the most fleshed out, like interesting lore, I think. And
I mean, there's a reason he's the villain in 2 Star Trek movies.
Yes,
I think Jordan, I think you're the one that told me that like the Klingons were like generally like the bad guys in the original series.
Yeah. In the original series, they're a recurrent, like, oh, we've got a problem. Like you run into the Klingons, like, shit, we got to deal with the Klingons this week.
I didn't know that because a combination of so many people being like, I can speak Klingon, and yes, that's my.
Oh, my uncle has a CD-ROM with the Klingon language on it.
That's great.
and the fact that Worf, like again, I saw some episodes of
Yeah.
Next Generation, and I'm like, oh, Worf seems cool.
Yeah,
So
and it's
I
because
didn't.
again this universe evolves because there's a
Mm.
100-year gap between the original series and TNG, and in those 100 years, we're no longer at war with the Klingons. They're very standoffish, and you probably don't want to hang out with them very much. But some of them have like started to be pretty chill and pretty cool, and Worf has
Well,
joined
yeah, that's part
Starfleet.
of like the premise of Undiscovered Country was the beginning of peace between Starfleet and the Klingon
Yeah, which
Empire.
is the final original era story. The
I,
Undiscovered Country is Kirk. Well, hang on. Okay. That requires Kirk's whole story. Hang on. I gotta
okay.
finish. I gotta
Yes,
finish what I was saying.
we've got to circle back because there's a great deal that involves his son.
Yes. So hang on. Let me finish this thought, which was that in the original series we are told that Khan ruled the Earth in the 1990s, but in the Strange New Worlds we are shown that Khan is a small child in the early 2020s. So it seems that Earth's history is moving backward for whatever you want to call that later
Forward.
in this universe. And I find that interesting. I don't know if that's going anywhere in particular other than just they want to be able to set things kind of contemporary or in the near future, even when there's time travel involved. But
Yeah,
It's
because
like when
Khan is genetically enhanced.
yes,
it's like
He and his
when
crew, like,
Captain America wakes up from the ice, because that was originally in like the
right.
70s or the 80s, and
yes, because Stan Lee's tenure on Captain America was so different from Joe Simon's, who Joe Simon came up with Captain America with Jack Kirby, and so they basically retconned the Stan Lee Captain America comics to being about William Burnside,
Yes,
and so
and so it's stuff like that where
yeah,
there are retcons via time travel and stuff shifts. But yes, the original story was that Khan ruled a fair portion of the Earth in the 90s during something they call the eugenics war. Oh, but so what I was getting to about this evil Nazi world is that First Contact, which I think is supposed to be in like the 2060s,
Mhm.
is, we finally meet the Vulcans and this kicks off, this new era of, human unity as we reach out into the stars and start exploring. And there's an episode of Enterprise, which is a flashback show. It's a prequel show that
Yes, it's
shows us the origin of the evil world, where we get the same scene from First Contact where they meet the Vulcans for the first time and the humans just shoot them. And they're like, it's like, oh shit, this world is if bigotry and xenophobia wins out instead of unity and hope. and
yeah,
everything spirals out of control and they become a fascist empire.
and goatees are really in fashion.
And goatees get really fashionable in the 2260s.
Okay.
But yes, so that episode's really fun, and it's one of my favorites because it's a really good Spock character analysis, even though it's not our Spock. That there's a deal where good Kirk is speaking to evil Spock, and he's basically telling him, I'm paraphrasing, it's been a long time since I've seen the episode, but he's basically telling him that, like, progress always defeats a regressive movement. It's every time. You look at any point in history, it's never won. Progress always comes out on top. And he says, basically that means there's no logic to supporting this. And that the only logic is in, supporting freedom and supporting, decency and everything like that. And I don't remember exactly how he gets there. It was more profound in the episode. But it's cool that he makes a logical appeal to the fascist Spock, and Spock's like, shit, you're right. So he's like, yeah, you got me. That's logical. And he starts kind of spearheading undoing the fascist empire of Earth, which is like, that's cool. So the Spock is like one of the few level-headed people on fascist worlds.
That is maybe the most fantastical element of anything that you guys have described about this franchise so far, is the idea that a logical appeal could turn someone away from
from fascism.
fascist
Yeah.
right-wing ideology.
Only if they're a Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean that's
So
what
what you're
separates the
saying-
Vulcans from the Romulans.
So
Is
what
that the Vulcans are purely driven by logic, while
Oh, yeah, I've
Romulans are
heard the
purely driven
what?
by emotion.
Wait, so what's a Romulan? Because I've heard
Yeah, so Romulans are another species that are very similar to Vulcans. They share like an ancestor
A common-
that they diverged. I don't
And I
remember
think
exactly
in the
when
new
they say it's
season of
supposed to be.
Strange New Worlds, it's established that ancestry is Martians because the first episode of
That is probably true. Yeah, I didn't think of that. That is probably information we
Because,
get in the
that's
pilot
probably
of season
actually
4.
the most insane thing that you guys have told me. I did not know that shit.
Neither did we until like a month ago. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just watched that episode. I just watched that episode yesterday. I
Yeah.
watched the first 3.
yeah, the
And
episode that implies that that Martians may be the similar ancestor was like from 3 weeks ago. So
Yes.
So is the reason that humanity encountered the Vulcans first is that they're basically the ancestral next door neighbors of us?
yeah, I think they are meant to be closer. I mean, they're not on Mars, but they are closer than a lot of other species.
Yes, because like part of the thing is like Mars itself becomes uninhabitable after the destruction of the 5th planet from the sun in our galaxy. And so whatever Martians were left traveled out in space and basically populated other worlds.
Wait, are they saying that the reason we have an asteroid field there is because
Yes.
there was another planet?
Yes.
Mhm.
And the coolest thing is that all of this only happens because of the Enterprise time traveling. So it's like it's a time loop, and they let it happen because they figure out that it's supposed to happen because that's how things are. And so I love when Star Trek does a time loop. It's a cool episode.
Okay.
It's a cool episode. Anyway, yes, the Vulcans are the Romulans are a close relative of the Vulcans who have kind of abandoned logic and are just giving into full-fledged, rageful emotion. And the idea is that the Vulcans have maybe overcorrected in shutting down those emotions and are entirely cold, logical beings.
Is there a reason, or not a reason, but is there like a common through, like are they meant to be evocative of Romans?
Maybe.
Because
Yeah. Because this was that.
I feel like there's elements of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because one of the things I couldn't help but think about is my sophomore year of high school was when we were reading Julius Caesar. Brutus is very logically driven, while Cassius is more emotional. And my first instinct was, this is Kirk and Spock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, let's get into Kirk's big story arc throughout the movies. So we get the Space Seed episode of Star Trek introduces us to Khan and tells us his backstory. We can just skip talking about the first Star Trek movie because nothing really happens in it.
The big thing there is Kirk gets promoted to Admiral in the motion picture.
Yeah, okay.
I heard that
and
all the odd-numbered movies suck.
Not exactly.
They're not
Motion
typically
picture-
as well regarded.
Yes, the motion picture isn't a particularly bad movie. It's just very slow.
It's very boring.
Search for Spock is actually a good movie. It's just not as good as Wrath of Khan.
Yeah,
or
you've just
The
come
Voyage
off
Home.
of a great movie, and so this okay movie doesn't really resonate as well. But yeah, so
And then
go
Final
ahead.
Frontier is just bad.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And
But
then Undiscovered Country is
yeah,
amazing.
and Voyage Home is a lot of fun. But so
Yes.
the Wrath of Khan is obviously Khan has returned and he wants revenge after
Yes,
Kirk fucked him over at the end of Space Seed.
Space. Yeah, he marooned Khan and his crew on a planet. And I
He's
think,
like, you guys are super
is it
dangerous,
Khan?
but I don't want to kill you, so here, thrive on this planet, and please leave everyone else alone. And that
Yes,
goes
also
about as well
Khan's
as we can
crew.
expect it to.
Yeah, they're also genetically enhanced, so it's like, it's hard to kill them.
Yeah. And so the long story short of Wrath of Khan, because I don't want to recap like every single story, I'm just trying to give you a gist of these characters and their arcs. The long story short of Wrath of Khan is that he was looking for a device called the Genesis device, Project Genesis.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Isn't it because he wants to save his wife? Am I remembering that correctly?
I didn't remember that, but I know that it's the device can create life. But
Death.
The what?
Life from death.
Yes.
That's
and so I think the idea is if you, am I remembering this correctly, that if you turn it on an inhabited world, it will kill everyone on it first and then create new life?
Yes, because that becomes important in Search for Spock, because it's, when we get to it, it's kind of the explanation for what happens to Spock.
Yes.
In Search for Spock.
Yes, but so it seems that if Khan gets it and gets to use it the way he wants, he's going to use it on like Earth and like kill everyone on Earth and then create new life. Yeah, because he's pissed off.
If it's essentially like a terraforming device, which it sounds like is what you guys are describing,
Basically.
I think it makes sense that if you use it on an already inhabited planet, that it would just fucking raise everything over to like start terraforming it from scratch. Yeah,
that's basically what this is, and that's basically Khan's plan. And the course of the movie results in the Genesis device going off on an uninhabited planet. And this happens, and shortly after that happens, this is the iconic scene where, to save the Enterprise, Spock goes into the radiation chamber of the warp core.
In the engine room.
Yeah. So that
he does the death grip on Scotty.
Yes.
The you are and always will be my friend or whatever.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember, like, I've seen that scene, I think, because of the Nostalgia Critic, and also Kevin Stoley from South Park references it.
Yeah, that might be the most famous individual scene in Star Trek.
Yes, it gets referenced in Family Guy, The Flash.
Oh, yeah, I remember The Flash doing that, yeah, okay.
Yes, yeah, it's probably the most famous scene in Star Trek. Spock dies, and I remember, important detail, before he dies, he does a Vulcan mind meld with McCoy.
Bones.
We should talk about McCoy for a moment after this. And
he's the lead medical officer. I'm a doctor, not a miracle worker, damn it.
That guy. Okay,
yes.
I also know that.
And it's not super clear what he did with his Vulcan mind meld, but he did, and then he dies, and we send his, I guess, casket, basically, to this new planet that was created by this new, I mean, not new planet, but this newly terraformed planet after.
It is also important to note that Carol Marcus and Kirk's son David were working with the Genesis device that Khan stole, and that's how we meet Kirk's son in the movies, who is an adult. Because in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, it's established that he's a baby during Kirk's time as first officer on the Farragut.
Yeah. And I guess he doesn't have a very close relationship with him because he's always on the Enterprise. And he and Carol don't seem to be together in any meaningful sense of the word when she shows up in Wrath of Khan. So, anyway, he has an adult son who was working on the Genesis project. And so then the third movie is Spock's body is basically regenerated from scratch as a small child who is aging rapidly due to the Genesis energy on this planet and due to Spock's casket being there. So it like took the genetic information from the body in the casket and created a new Spock, basically. But he doesn't have his memories or anything, because it's just
they're all in
new body.
McCoy's body.
It's like,
Yeah, and it turns out that's what he was doing with the Vulcan mind meld, is he put, in essence, his soul and memories and experiences into, like, the back of McCoy's mind, and leads to a lot of fun acting from DeForest Kelley, who gets to do, Spock-isms throughout the movie as bits of Spock come through.
Because throughout the entire original series, McCoy and Spock would constantly butt heads.
Yeah, they do not get along, and McCoy is pretty racist for being in Starfleet against Vulcans, which is like kind of a funny thing to look back on. Because when you look at everything that Starfleet has been established as since the original series, when you go back and you're like, dude, you're just a straight up bigot. Please stop. This is terrible.
You're green-blooded Vulcan, you eat them.
You green-blooded hobgoblin.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's funny, like, I think this is one of the things that Kelvin movies do so well, is that Carl Urban and Zachary Quinto very much capture that dynamic.
But without it being hateful.
Yes. And in Beyond, it's so fun. It's like, oh, crap, you left me alone, Spock. Spock, you don't put a tracking device on your girlfriend. Come on. That's not how.
But yeah, so they managed to recontextualize that bickering, dynamic into something that is much less hurtful and something that is more just annoyed with each other due to personality differences and not racism, which I think is nice.
I did get kind of floored just now. That is Carl Urban. Jesus, I can picture the character from the little bits of footage I've seen of that.
Yeah, that is Carl Urban. That is actually my favorite Carl Urban role.
Okay,
yeah, same here.
No, I do not. I haven't seen this movie, but there's no fucking way, dude.
I love him as Bones. I love him so much.
Do you prefer Dread Blue?
Dread, Aomer, the fucking Doom guy.
I like him as Bones way better than all those. The only debatable point is Butcher. I'd be like, all right, his Butcher is fucking great. I really love his silly Butcher.
Even Johnny Cage? You didn't like him as Johnny Cage?
Not as much as I like him as Bones.
I still haven't seen Mortal Kombat 2. The first one left such a bad taste in my mouth.
You didn't like, the HBO Max one from 2021? You didn't like that one?
What was his HBO Max?
No, I didn't really.
Oh, yes, yes.
I
thought we were talking about a show now.
I mean, I know that they changed the lore a fair bit with, the Arcana stuff, and, it's not the tournament, but I thought I saw it as a good, setup, and honestly, it was a great setup, because the payoff for them actually getting to the tournament in Mortal Kombat 2, that movie is fantastic for a Mortal Kombat movie. I know the bar is low, but,
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, some of it was just Cole. I didn't like him.
Oh, well, don't worry. There's not much of him in the second movie.
Yeah, I know he dies. It's like Duke in G.I. Joe Retaliation. He dies in the very beginning.
Well, he probably dies a half hour in, but he's not in many scenes.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the same for Duke in G.I. Joe Retaliation. You get some cool Duke stuff, then he dies.
Okay.
Which pissed a lot of people off that they killed off Duke in the second movie.
I do strongly recommend you watch Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
Okay, so, alright, fine. You like Dr. Butcher,
yes, Dr. Butcher is a great character. And
we should have made that joke in the Boys episode, Jordan. Maybe when we talk about the next few seasons of the Boys, we'll do that.
Yeah, I think we should finish up the Boys at some point. But so the third Star Trek movie is Bones has Spock's brain in him basically, and we've got this not Spock body of Spock growing on Genesis, and obviously the movie ends with them being able to get the it's called Katra, which is the soul of a Vulcan, out of Bones and into this new Spock body that is now grown into an
We
adult throughout the course of the film.
Yes.
So now we have
It's-
Spock back a whole
It's
movie
really
later.
funny
And,
because Katra is actually how Naruto initially mispronounces Chakra.
That's funny. I wonder if that's a reference.
knowing how old and iconic Star Trek is, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
But,
it genuinely
we should also
could
talk
be.
about the Klingons that are like on the planet.
Yes. Now, I don't remember what the Klingons wanted. I remember what happened, but I don't remember why they were here.
Yes, because I don't remember either. Because one, they end up stealing the Klingon. It's been a while since I've seen that particular movie.
Okay.
Like of the original movies, the one I've seen most recently was The Voyage Home.
Oh, also the lead Klingon is Christopher Lloyd in basically blackface.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, it's because like the Klingon natural pigmentation of Klingons is kind of like
Somewhat resembles black humans.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do know what you're talking about. Like, that was such a double whammy just now. Christopher Lloyd already, I was like, wait, what the fuck? And then you said in blackface. I was like, what? Okay.
Of course, it's not blackface because he's playing an alien, but he's playing an alien who had been played by mostly black people prior to this point.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was funny. Anyway, this results in whatever the Klingons were doing. I wish I could remember why the Klingons were here. That speaks poorly to the overall plot of the movie that I don't remember what the Klingons were actually after or why they were here. But ultimately we get into a standoff sort of hostage situation where the Klingons have Kirk's son, the new like Vulcan Starfleet member, and the not quite Spock body of Spock that's like grown into a teenager or early adult by now. And they're threatening to kill one of them if Kirk doesn't do what they want. And I feel like we get into a situation where Kirk tries to call a bluff and they kill his son.
Yes.
And
Wow. Okay.
devastating deal, and it's now clear that we're outmatched. They're going to take the Enterprise from us. They wanted the Enterprise. I don't remember why they wanted the Enterprise. But
it could have been something with the dilithium chambers or something like that.
Yes. And this very emotional scene, by the way, it really hit me after watching through a bunch of the original series and then all these movies, getting to the part where Kirk...
They blow up the Enterprise.
Yeah, Kirk, I think Scotty, and Bones enter the, voice codes to self-destruct the Enterprise and then give it to the Klingons. and it wipes them out. And
Except Christopher Lloyd.
Except Christopher Lloyd.
Because you gotta get that scene where Kirk is kicking him in the face. I have had enough of you!
Yep. In his William Shatner cadence. And yeah, so this is obviously a very devastating life event for Kirk, and he is now super rageful against Klingons, which makes it, factors into a lot of the dramatic tension in the 6th Star Trek movie, where we're now trying to do a peace deal with the Klingons, and there's been, someone has staged an assassination attempt against some Klingons to try to keep the conflict going, and it's like Kirk trying to investigate this might be the wrong person to do it because he hates Klingons now. And so
he was originally supposed to negotiate a peace deal with these Klingons.
Yeah.
But General Chang, played by recently passed away.
I don't know it.
Another from Sound of Music.
Christopher Plummer?
Yes!
Okay.
Yes, Chang was Christopher Plummer. Klingon with an eye patch.
Music, so I wasn't going to help with that.
Okay. So.
Oh, and Knives Out. That was the other.
Yes, the murder victim of Knives Out.
Yes. So Christopher Lloyd was Cruz, and Christopher Plummer is General Chang.
Yeah. And yeah, so the sixth movie, largely, like, arc-wise, the sixth movie is about Kirk learning to let go of this unilateral hatred of
Well, yes,
Klingons and
his
accept.
captain's log gets used against him in the sixth movie, and
Yeah.
he ends up on a because he's like, they took my son away from me. I can never forgive them, and so the captain's log is used to frame him for the murder of this Klingon ambassador, which is really General Chang trying to sabotage any peace between the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire.
Yeah, because he's a dick.
Okay, I'm about to say something very stupid, and I
Okay.
acknowledge that it's
I
stupid.
love stupid things.
Okay, you might not love this one. So, you saying that just now made me realize that the captain's log is, like, real.
Yeah, it is
Diegetic.
a diegetic real thing that is part of the show.
I
Mhm.
just ever only looked at it as a purely it's like a
Exposition.
setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an expositional device to set up the
Mhm.
episode or to recap events of previous things. Because I know that's how they intro all the old episodes is Captain's Log, Stardate, blah 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 blah.
Most of
And
them, yes.
and I guess it makes
Mhm.
sense that it's like, yeah, I guess they would actually be saying that to a recording device. But it's just like
Yeah.
I've never once heard of any instance where someone like listens to a captain's log. So, so you
Yeah,
realize,
it's real.
Well, yes, that's
They
also
are
how
meant to be reviewed at some point.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay,
That's
yeah, that
also
makes
how
sense.
Kirk deduces that there was a traitor on the Enterprise crew, and it leads to Spock mind melding with this new Vulcan crew member who was secretly a Klingon mole.
Hmm.
Yeah, I find that interesting that there are people of multiple species who have allied because bigotry. Like it's like bigotry unites a group of
Evil people.
multiracial evil people. Fascinating little bit of
I
story
mean,
there.
that's also
Fascinating.
true to real life. The Proud Boys leader is a Latino guy, so
Yeah,
who
yeah. You get
somehow
Mhm.
thinks that he's not also going to get targeted.
yeah. There's two things that I think will be infinitely relevant forever, and it's the X-Men and Star Trek due to their
Yes.
subject matter.
There have actually been crossovers with Star Trek and X-Men.
Oh, that's fucking awesome, and I need to read
Yes.
them.
Yes, in the 90s and 80s, both DC and Marvel had the Star Trek comic license.
That's
And
awesome.
one of the things Marvel did was they did an original series crossover with X-Men. Then they did a Next Generation X-Men crossover. And then they published a novel Star Trek X-Men crossover.
That's
That's
awesome.
a continuation of the two comic crossovers.
That's really cool. I like that.
So,
Yes.
okay, real quick. So you skipped from movie 3 to movie 6. Does nothing of that? Okay, wait. Isn't there a
So,
movie
Well,
where they're
actually,
like in the 70s or something?
yes,
And
that's 4.
yes, they go to the 80s to basically the world is under siege by this like
This is going to be a
alien
fun sentence.
machine that's emitting a humpback whale signal. And since humpback whales are extinct in the present day, Kirk and his crew with this new Klingon ship they hijacked in the search for Spock
Because
go
they don't
back
have
to
the Enterprise
19
anymore because they blew it up.
yes, yes. They go back to 1980s America to an aquatic exhibit to basically beam two humpback whales into their present. And Kirk meets like a curator of this aquarium who they sort of fall in love with. And when they go back to their time, Kirk is like, Scotty, beam us up. And the curator basically hugs Kirk so she beams aboard with him.
so there
And
is
then they
time
beam the hump.
travel.
Yes. Oh, both the Next Generation movie, both Star Trek, the original series, movie series, and the Next Generation movie series have one installment where they end up in the past.
So what the fuck is the deal with the hump? Okay, sure. You know, I'm just gonna let it go.
Well, it's hard to time travel intentionally. There's always some
Yes.
like extenuating circumstance to be able to time travel.
Yes, it's either like they go through like a wormhole or they do a loop around the sun or something.
Yeah.
They,
But anyway.
they fly around the sun at warp speed in the voyage home to end up in the past.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because in the past, like Spock is hearing swears for the first time because with networks and standards you couldn't swear on television. And since these are movies not bound by
I didn't think of that. That's really funny.
same network standards, they're swearing. But like the lore reason is in Star Trek we've moved to a point where swearing is just not in our regular vernacular. So when people are swearing, it's like, what are these colorful metaphors people are using?
That is,
and it's like, it's just a way like to express emotion.
We'll just invent new swears. That's all that'll happen. But
yes.
But okay, wait. So hold on. Okay, I'm no astrophysicist, but I like to dabble, and so I'm trying to understand I know it's bullshit. I know it's all bullshit. I know it's science fiction.
It's sci-fi bullshit.
Yes, but I just even what the idea of it is. So like, because like, okay, this reads as like stupid to the level of like Superman flying around the earth backwards, reverses time. Because like, I understand the whole gravity stretches time, and if you fly at near light speed around a very massive object like a star, that the combination of the gravity and the velocity could like stretch time. But I believe the only way that would work is forwards. Like you could maybe slingshot yourself into like next week or something, but backwards, what? Do they give an explanation, or do they just like, it's space magic, it'll work, just trust
Star Trek tends to do space magic quite a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sci-fi space magic bullshit. Just accept it.
Okay, alright, I just wanted to be sure. Okay, thank you.
But yeah, so the funny part is hearing Spock swear because he doesn't know how to like put swears in context, and so like he goes into the aquarium, swims in the humpback whale tank, and mind melds with one of the humpback whales. And, the curator of the exhibit is like, "What is there?" Someone points out, "There's a man in the tank." And the curator's, "No, what?" And so there's this whole like, "You get out of here! You broke the rules." And it's like she starts swearing at Spock, and so the hell I am. And Spock,
that's funny.
But yeah, so the fourth Star Trek movie is a time travel environmentalist movie, which is the whole thing is save the whales. Don't let the whales go extinct.
Okay.
Yes, my dad dubbed it the Free Willy movie.
I was gonna say, was this like 89, 90? Like when did this movie?
Basically, yeah. This.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's just about right. Let me check.
Because
I grew up in the era of all the environmentalist movies, Fern Gully and Free Willy. And,
this is 86.
Yeah, that tracks. Like that, there was a solid decade from like 85 to like 95 where everything was super environmentalist, and then we just gave up, and now climate change is running rampant. Isn't it fun?
Yep.
Thank you, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, really great guy.
Yep.
Trees cause more pollution than automobiles.
So, and then 5, yes, and then the 5th one, I don't even remember. I like.
What does God need with a starship?
That was the God one? Right.
Yes, that's the God.
Okay, yes. So in the 5th Star Trek movie, they meet God, kind of.
Yes, Spock has like a brother who's like this part of this like religious cult that wants to discover God. And there's like,
I'm sorry, it just really took me out of it because you're like, yeah, in the 5th Star Trek movie, they meet God.
I honestly had completely forgotten the God one even happened until just now.
I mean, there's a reason it's the worst one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Cybok, Spock's half-brother, is part of a weird kind of fanatical religious cult that thinks they have found the one true God that all galactic religions are based on, and we're going to go find him. And they oh wait, I should mention this about the end of 4 before we talk about 5 because it's cool. Is that a big part of Kirk's arc throughout the first 3 or 4 Star Trek movies is being kind of dissatisfied with not being a captain anymore and being expected not to be hands-on with stuff. And
he gets demoted back to captain.
Right, and so in 2 and 3, he disobeys a whole bunch of Star Trek shit and basically steals the Enterprise and then blows it up to get revenge on the Klingons. And so they're like, you need to be punished, but it's like he's now literally saved the world with his whale adventure. And so, and with everything else.
What was the... So you said they just found a device that was emitting humpback whale frequencies.
And it's like, it's something that has come here expecting to communicate, and it's like, it's gonna blow up the Earth if we don't respond to it. I think that was it. And it's the only way we can respond to it is to go get some whales.
Yes, and the humpback whale's whatever signal communicates with the ship. And
they're like, okay, we're satisfied. You can live.
There was no way to decode and generate a frequency. We had to time travel.
No, unfortunately, we don't have a character whose primary function is being really good at decoding languages.
Yeah, the Enterprise crew needed Aquaman in that situation.
Oh my god, these fucking stories. Okay.
Anyway, so it's a neat ending that they've got him on court-martial and they're like, Kirk, you've left us no choice. We have to discipline you. You are going to be demoted to captain and given a ship. And they're like, okay, so they're being nice to him. And
and he gets the Enterprise 1701A.
Right, it's a great build-up with the crew wondering what ship are they going to give us. And we see that they have basically built a new Enterprise from scratch that looks very similar but not quite identical to the old one. And it is called the 1701A.
Okay, I have 2 things to say. The first is, okay, Scotty, I'm definitely seeing what you're saying about how Star Trek influenced a lot of Mass Effect, because that's exactly what happens in Mass Effect 2. I mean the new ship thing. And the second is, I think this all just makes me hate Kirk more, that he's like my former boss, in that he clearly is not suited for the job that he's in, and yet he keeps fucking his way up into victories, and so he then gets given concessions that he really shouldn't be given, because it's like, well, I mean, he saved the world, so I guess we gotta be nice to the guy. And it seems like he's just like an overly privileged shit.
There's an element to that, yeah. That is not an unfair description. I will say that.
Which, like, I'm not trying to say, like, he has no heroic qualities or anything, but I'm just saying, like, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you got gumption, kid, you break the rules, and we're gonna reward you for it. Except it's like, this isn't 1920s New York, this is supposed to be, like, the space organization of the future, where you're dealing with the lives of trillions of billions of other beings, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna reward the guy that, keeps
they're explorers.
Yeah, but they're still responding to a governmental body, right? Like, they have rules and regulations, and it sounds like this guy just keeps breaking the rules, but because it turns out okay, he... okay, yeah, I don't know.
There are some rules he doesn't believe in at all, like the Prime Directive, which is to not interfere with the development of alien life.
Yeah, he really doesn't give a shit about that.
That's all he does, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, almost all Star Trek captains are really bad at listening to the Prime Directive. It's a kind of a running bit at this point.
Well, yes, there's
that's the show.
Yeah.
But like one of the things like Kirk will cite is like, what if there's a genocide? Are we not supposed to stop it? And that's like been like a point of conflict in certain like Star Treks. It's either they find a way to stop it without breaking the Prime Directive, or they break it and basically try to keep it on the down.
Starfleet just has to deal with it.
Yes.
I mean, okay, I understand the metaphor there because it's the argument of nationalism versus globalism is the idea of, like, shouldn't us Americans look out for our own and also not interfere with the sovereign borders of other nations? But at the same time, it's like, but the Spider-Man ethos, we have the power to help, and if we don't help in their genocidal conflicts, then we're, like, practically complicit, and seeing that on a scale of not country to country, but species to species among alien races among planets is cool. So I can understand the Prime Directive from like a metaphorical perspective, but
and narratives.
It is insane that the main organization that we follow throughout this entire franchise has a stated directive that for the purpose of it's a space show where we meet alien races, and literally the mission statement is to boldly go and explore new places and shit. It's like, yeah, but you have to break rule 1 to do that.
Just constantly.
Yes, because it's like, well, the reasoning behind it in war is like they don't want civilizations that haven't invented the wheel to know about warp technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to get to that point on their own.
That's valid because, again, Mass Effect addresses that with the Krogan, and it's a bad time. They should not have given spacefaring travel to a bunch of barbarians that just invented the nuke. And which, I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for us. We invented the nuke 20 years before we started going into space.
Yeah.
But
well, it's kind of funny because the more I think about it, I think the Krogan were influenced by the Klingons.
Yeah, I definitely see. I mean, even okay. So I watched Actually, like I said, and I saw a picture from an episode of The Next Generation where everyone gets devolved. And there's like a proto Klingon that Worf turns into, and he looks like a fucking monster. He's like a
yes, I mean they are a very warlike species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it makes sense. So, yeah, the Krogan definitely reflect a lot of that. Which, by the way, I love the Krogan. I love getting to go to Chunka and seeing Commander Shepard headbutt a Krogan, and the Krogan being like, "You dare," and Shepard rubbing his head like, "Ow," and then another Krogan be like, "Ha ha ha! I like this guy." So, the Krogan are great, which makes me feel like I would probably like, you know, Worf and the Klingon and stuff if I got into this.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
By the way, I don't think I'm going to title this episode Starfleet. I think it's going to be too confusing. If not for the viewers, then for me trying to look back on these episodes, I think I'm going to call this one Kirk.
I guess this is primarily a Kirk episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we did TOS and the original movies are primarily Kirk stories.
Yes, we did talk about Pike a little bit, but more as like a stepping stone for Kirk.
Yeah.
We got a few more minutes. Is there anything else you want to tell me about, like, the movies and stuff? Because it seems like that's where we're at right now. You said 5 is where they meet God.
5 is where they meet God. The reveal is that it's like a super powerful being that's not really God. It's just a piece of shit, as it turns out.
Is it Q?
No, it's something else.
No,
I don't think we ever really know what it is.
Okay. And then 6 was the one where the Klingon treaty assassination.
Yeah, and this is probably worth mentioning that by the time for the 4th, 5th, and 6th Star Trek movies, TNG was a thing, and so there intentionally explaining in these movies why there are lettered,
Enterprises.
enterprises in the future, and they're intentionally explaining why we have peace with the Klingons and stuff like that. So that's worth noting.
Yes, because in Generations, Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov are invited for the opening of the Star Trek, the Enterprise 1701B.
There's a guy called
And they're like
Chekhov.
brought on. Yes.
Does he have a gun?
He does have a phaser.
Okay. I was going to say, if they didn't at least do that, that would be a sickening betrayal.
Pavel Chekhov. That's who the late Anton Yelkin played in the Kelvinverse movies.
Anton Yelkin, where do I know him from?
I don't know, maybe Terminator Salvation? I guess
I don't know that. Wait, I think I'm thinking of the guy from No Country for Old Men. Was his name Anton? I'm sorry, I might be brain fried after learning that the Enterprise meets Scott. Okay, well, Jesus, you guys have told me some insane shit today, and I don't think it's convinced me to like become a diehard Trekkie or anything. But you know what?
I hope we at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like every time I learn more stuff about Star Trek, my reaction is always like, "Oh, that sounds cool."
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just something about the
longevity.
The what?
Longevity.
Not even that, because I can get into long-running series. It's okay. My issue is that it's the same kind of thing as Doctor Who, where it is the combination of it's this really long-running thing, but if I tried to start from the beginning or even just watch it in the modern era on an episode-to-episode basis, it's just there's a combination of there's so much history, and whenever series are making self-referential points, I feel like I'm missing out, which is why I have to watch things chronologically, right? I don't like missing references. But then also, like, they've got a very, I don't know how to word it. It's not whimsical, it's not pacifist, but it's like a really, like super PG, like, we're not, okay, I'm not grimdark. I don't like everything to be dark and gritty all the time. I'm not someone who...
Like a Zack Snyder movie?
Yeah, I don't want that. But at the same time, when sometimes things are a little bit too clean, like, it feels boring, even if theoretically something interesting is going on. Do you guys understand what I mean? Like,
sure.
Doctor Who, he'll be in like the most insane grave situation, but he'll be like, "Oh, I'll shoot a little beam from my sonic screwdriver and eat some fucking I almost said kibbles and bits. Bangers and mash and and we're just gonna have like a fun, inoffensive time with this world-ending threat." And he gives a little speech, and the aliens bumble, and they have a sword fight, and he loses a hand, but he immediately grows the hand back, and it's just like it feels like they're saying that there's consequences, but I'm not feeling or seeing the consequences. And Star Trek is kind of a similar thing, where despite the fact that Kirk is two-handed, like slamming someone in the back of the neck, it then goes to like they're having a boardroom meeting and talking about their quarterly projections on the grid of the Enterprise, and I'm just like, I can't get into this. So
yeah, that's really surprising to me. I don't know why. It just surprises me that this isn't something that you connect with. But I'm still excited to talk about the TNG era more.
Yes.
It might also be some bias, like some illogical bias on my part, because again, I've seen episodes just pop up on my TV screen of The Next Generation in the past, and I've watched them, but
Hmm.
but maybe it's because they're palatable to watch. They're inoffensive
Mm-hmm.
in such a
Hmm.
way that I don't feel like I gotta see what happens next. We were talking about The Boys earlier, sort of offhandedly. The Boys was very offensive to me. The Boys had some really bad episodes. The Boys had a lot of like gross, gory shit that I don't like.
Yeah, fair.
And Homelander
Yeah,
is one.
it's even though it's toned down from the comic it's based on, as I told Jordan when
Yeah.
we did that
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, and Homelander is one of the biggest pieces of shit in media, but that was like kept me going. I was like, I gotta see this guy die, and maybe
Mm.
it's because things are like, even though there's conflicts, things are peaceful and diplomatic to a point where I don't have like an enemy that I need to see die in.
Hmm.
Oh, that sounds so morbid. I'm sorry, but like, look, I don't know. I need some sort of like higher form of negativity to keep me going through
That's
something.
funny.
Mm.
Like even with something like Steven Universe, which is extremely like cutesy and shit. By the end of season 1, you're like, oh no, there was like a genocide and like these people that committed this horrible atrocity are still alive and they're like actively hunting us. And so I'm like, well, I want to see them get theirs. And
Sure.
so that kept me going through some of the weaker episodes in like
I
season.
forget. Have you watched the Kelvinverse movies?
Nope.
I don't think he has.
I
Have you?
think you might actually connect really well with those. So
Yes.
I feel like after these 2 episodes, you should watch them, and then we'll do a Fandom Optimists on just those 3 movies.
Yeah, the
Because
three of us.
I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think you would
Yes.
like them.
One of the things Abrams said when going into those is one of the things he felt Star Trek needed was more action.
And a
And
common criticism of them is that they
there's
made
too
it
much
too
action.
shooty and too high octane,
Yes. I mean, Spock gets in a fist
drama,
fight with them.
intensity and action.
Look, I'm
Yes,
not
Spock
going
has
to
a fist
promise
fight with
anything.
Khan in Into Darkness.
Well, that's another thing. I hate Benedict Cumberbatch, and I try not to watch any of his
Why?
movies because he hates
You don't
autistic
like
people.
Doctor
We had this
Strange?
conversation.
Did
Remember?
what?
He hates autistic people.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Okay,
he is he has said some problematic things.
Some
real
very
quick.
ableist thing.
He did a Broadway production of Young Frankenstein, and he said his inspiration for Frankenstein's monster was autistic people. He had just recently went to visit a bunch of autistic kids in like a special school, and he said that his inspiration was autistic people because they're less than human but more than animals.
Yeah. Fucked up quote. I'm gonna hope that someone explained to him what that meant later.
Well,
Yeah.
they did, and people have
I
asked me
guess
for years
on
to
my
clarify.
rewatches of Into Darkness, I'll have to look at Khan the same way I look at Skeletor in the new Masters of the Universe.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, let's not get into Leto, but okay.
Oh my
But
god.
I mean, I gotta give him credit. He does knock it out of the park in that movie at least,
Okay.
as opposed to his Joker.
We're gonna have to
But
wrap
we're
things
getting so sidetracked.
up. So I want to say thank you to you both for sticking with me. I'm sure I asked a lot of dumb questions, and I probably said a bunch of offensive things about one of the most influential sci-fi franchises of all time. but uh, if any of you listening learned anything along with me here, feel free. I should engagement bait more. Feel free to leave a comment about.
On Spotify or Podbean.
Yeah, well, I have YouTube now. It's set up
Oh
there.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So you can leave I mean, I guess there are comments on the other ones too. But yeah, leave a
Mm.
comment wherever, um, telling me what you learned from this enlightening lecture. Um, we have a Discord server. You can feel free to join. You can leave suggestions, which is the suggestions channel is where we planned this episode. And you can also easily contact us there. There's the Hall of Pods podcast network. It's the SJW Comic Book Club, True Believers of Comic Book Podcast, Phantom Optimists, Movies to Watch Before You Die. They're all cool. Give them a listen. Yeah, I understand what you guys meant now when saying like we need to do more than one episode, because this was all mostly just the original series. So
Yeah.
Well, we didn't even get to how Kirk dies,
Yes.
which happens in the Next Generation.
Well, then yeah, you can tell me in the Next Generation
Yeah, that'll be later.
About that. Okay. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
I did want to read his little quote here at the end of the final movie. Kirk's last sign-off is he says, Captain's log, this is the final cruise of the Starship Enterprise under my command. This ship and her history will shortly become the care of another crew. To them and their posterity, we will commit our future. They will continue the voyages we have begun and journey to all the undiscovered countries, boldly going where no one has gone before, which I think is cool because they updated from where no man has gone before to where no one has gone before, switching from the original series to TNG. So it's cool the bridge there of the little bit of extra inclusivity in the wording of that.
Does he say
it's neat. Yeah.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where the movie's name comes from.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you to you both for teaching me about Star Trek. Thank you to everyone listening. I suppose we definitely will be doing another one of these.
Oh yeah.
I'm not promising I'm going to watch the fucking movie. Look, I'll think about it. But
at least watch 09 because
watch the first one, and it would be really fun to do a Fandom Optimists on it. And it's like we'll get into it. I'll explain later.
I'm trying not to be resistant, but
resistance is futile.
Shut up, Jesus. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Stay strong, stay true to yourselves, and boldly go, or whatever. Jesus.
Boldly go, or whatever.
No one has gone before.
Yeah, that one.